Jai Shri Ram. By the grace of Lord Sri Krishna, Lord Sri Jagannath, Lord Sri Ram, we will continue the story of Ramayan, part 1 we read. Chapter 10 Sad Farewells. So, if you are not watched the previous chapter of Ramayan, you may go to the playlist or you can click on the I button and watch all the video of Ramayan so that you will connect this chapter 10. The chapter 10 is starting like this: how all the people of Ayodhya given farewell to Lord Sri Krishna. It was time for Ram and his two companions to say their farewells. Holding their weapons and followed by Sita, the brothers made their way towards Dasharatha's palace. As they passed along the road, many men crowded around to watch them. Ponged in sorrow at seeing their beloved prince leaving, they lamented in various ways. Here passes the same Ram who before would move regally instead, followed by huge retinue, said the people. Now he walks with only Sita and Lakshmana as his companions. Although used to every luxury, he is going to the terrible forest in obedience to his father's word. Some citizens censured the king, whom they felt had been grieved by some evil spirit. How could he send his dearest son into exile? Rama's qualities were evident to all. His compassion, learning, gentleness, sense control, and mental peace all were ever visible in that noble prince. The citizen could not face the prospect of Ram's departure. They felt pain, just as a tree with all its fruits and flowers is hurt when its root is damaged. And they spoke out in the public places. We will give up our homes and villages and go with the pious Ram to the forest. Let us share with him all his joys and sorrows. Let Kaikeyi rule over a deserted kingdom, the fate of its people. Everyone feared the prospect of Kaikeyi becoming powerful as the mother of the king. They angrily crushed her again and again. All of them would go with Ram. They would abandon the city, leaving its home houses to be filled with dust and overrun by mice. The forest would become a city and Ayodhya a forest. They would drive out from the forest all the fierce animals and snakes, sending them to live in Ayodhya with Kaikeyi as their protector. The two brothers heard the laments of the people, but they kept their minds under strict control, smiling gently and glancing with affection at the citizens. They walked together like a pair of powerful lions. They entered the Sharath palace and saw Sumitra, who stood with folded hands and a disconsolate face. Rama asked him to announce their arrival to the king. When Sumitra went, when Sumitra went before Dasharatha, he found the king distracted by grief, having deep sighs, his eyes red from weeping. The devoted and faithful Sumitra regarded his master to be like the eclipsed sun or a fire covered by ashes. Bowing at the king's feet, Sumitra said, "The illustrious Rama has disturbed, disturbed at his wealth to his dependents and the Brahmins. and he now stands at your door awaiting your permission to depart for the forest, ordering his minister to show Ram in. The king also asked that all his wives should be present. Sumitra brought the queens, who arrived accompanied by numerous maid servants. He then brought Ram and Lakshmana before their father. As Ram entered the room, Dasharatha ran impulsively towards him, but being stricken with sorrow, he fell senseless to the floor. Ram and Lakshmana rushed to assist their unconscious father. All the ladies threw up their arms and gave out a wail which mixed with the tinkling of their ornaments. A commotion, commotion filled the room with cries of alas, alas, O Ram. Kaikeyi alone remained unmoved. Ram and Lakshman, both crying, lifted their fathers and placed him gently on a couch. As the king returned to consciousness, regained his composure and, with folded hands, said, I have come to take leave of you, father. Please grant me your permission to go to the forest. Although allow Lakshmana and Sita, whom I could not deter even with great effort, to accompany me. O great king, please give up your grief and look favorably upon us, for we wish now to depart. Ram calmly awaited his father's permission. The king spoke with difficulty as a result of a promise made to Kaikeyi. I have lost my goodness. Therefore, my dear Ram, take me captive and rule over this kingdom. Fixed in righteousness, Ram replied, may you rule the earth for another 1,000 years. I have no desire for sovereignty. After a merry 14 years have passed, I shall return and once more take hold of your feet, having redeemed your pledge, O ruler of men. Dasharatha was mortified, but he saw Kaikeyi urging him on with covert gestures. Bound by the fetter of truth, he spoke to his son, granting him permission to live. Pleasing live with a undisturbed mind, O Ram, and may your journey be a safe and happy one. The king was devastated. He could see that Ram's decision to depart was firm and not to be reversed. Ram was devoted to piety and truth. Dasharatha requested him to remain for just one night so that he and Kausalya might see him a little longer. He wanted to offer Ram all enjoyable things on that last day. Trembling with grief, the king said, I swear to you that I never wanted this to happen. I have been obliged by Kaikeyi, who has abandoned virtue after long concealing her evil intentions. Your willingness to accept even this terrible order simply to save me from sins prove beyond doubt your greatness. O gentle Ram, I permit you to live. Only go tomorrow with my blessing. Hearing of his father's request, Rama becomes concerned. He uh, did not wish to delay his departure any longer and said, who will offer me tomorrow the delights I enjoy today? The times for my departure has come, and I must now cast aside all thought of enjoyments. Let me live right away, make over this vast kingdom with all its riches to Bharata. My resolution to live in the forest cannot be swayed. Your booms to Kaikai should now be implemented in full. I shall live with a ascetic of for 14 years, and the world should be given to Bharata. Ram moved closer to his anguished father, who sat shaking his head. He asked the king to be free from sorrow. Rama assured his father that he had no desire at all for the kingdom, nor for any pleasure, nor even for life itself devoid of virtue. He only wished to execute the king's command and prove him true to his word, comforting the grieving monarch. Ram said, "Since Kaikai said to me, 'Go to the forest, O Raghav,' and I replied by saying, 'I am going,' I must now redeem the pledge. Please let me live. I cannot wait an instant longer." Ram felt sorrow to see his father suffering such intense agony. Not wanting to increase his father's pain, however, Rama kept his own feelings in check and maintained a calm expression. He spoke gently, assuring his father that he would certainly enjoy his stay in the forest. He would sport happily with Sita in the many delightful woods and groups, protected by his own weapons and by Lakshmana. There would be no fear for them from the beast and Rakshasa in the forest. When 14 years had passed, the king would find them returned unharmed and ready to serve him again. Bharata alone could competently and righteously rule the globe in his absence. Ram added, "I shall never accept the kingdom by bringing infamy to you. O king, indeed I could renounce every pleasure, including my own dear wife, in order to satisfy your command. I shall now be happy the moment I entered the forest. You need not feel any pain for me. Be peaceful, my lord, and allow me to live." Dasharatha, tormented by a burning agony, embraced Ram tightly and then again felt unconscious, showing no sign of life. All the queens, along with their mad servant, cried loudly. Kaikeyi felt her purpose fulfilled and was rejoicing inwardly. Witnessing her silent, the king's intimate friend Sumitra was furious, beating his head, wringing his hands, and grinding his teeth. He spoke scathingly to her, his eyes blazing with wrath. Here lies your husband, the support of the whole world, betrayed and forsaken by you. O king, surely there is nothing sacred for you. I consider you to be the murderess of your husband and the destroyer of your own race. Do not despite your Lord in this way, for this order is superior to that of even a million suns. Ignoring the time honored rules of primogeniture, you seek to obstruct Ram's rights and bring unbearable pain to the king. Tear flowed from the old minister as he spoke. He told Kaikei to renounce her evil aim. If her son become the king, then no pious man would remain in the kingdom. What joy would she derive from ruling the empty earth, which was earned through sin? It was a great wonder that the earth did not split apart and swallow her, or that the great sages did not utter fiery courses to consume her on that very spot. Having served the king all his wife, Sumitra felt every pain the king felt, as if it as it were his own. As he addressed Kaikei too, he could hardly bring himself to look at her. The glorious king would The glorious king will never belie his promise to you. Do not force him to perform an act repugnant to himself and the whole world. Follow the desire of a king and become a protectress of the world. Let Ram be installed on the throne. He will undoubtedly always remain favorable to you in every way. If, however, on your order he is sent to the forest, then your only gain will be unending infamy. Give up your misguided desire, O Keikei, and live happily. Kaikeyi looked coolly at Sumitra, who stood before her with joined palms, and she made no reply. Her mind remained unmoved as she awaited the execution of her order. Seeing her resolve, Dasharatha, who had regained consciousness, signed and said to Sumitra, "You should immediately order my army to make ready to depart. They should accompany Ram to the forest. So to suit wealthy merchants skilled at establishing network of shops, search out hunters who knows the secrets of forest and send them with Ram. Assemble thousands of capable servants and have them prepared to live. Indeed, you should arrange for my entire treasury and my granary to be transported along with Ram. He should not have to endure any austerity during the 14 years of exile." As Dasharatha spoke, Kaikeyi becomes alarmed. The king was going to devast the kingdom of all its wealth before her son was crowned. Dismayed and fearful, she turns towards Dasharatha and spoke, her mouth parched and her voice choked. "How can you bestow upon Bharata a kingdom stripped of its wealth? How then will he actually be the ruler of this world as you have promised?" The Kaikai turns angrily, the king turned angrily towards Kaikai after handling me a heavy burden to bear. "You are now lashing me as I carry it. Oh, hostile and vulgar woman, when asking for your boons, you should have stipulated that Ram could not take anything with him to the forest. Abandoning all sense of righteousness, you have taken to a path leading only to grief. I cannot stay here with you any longer. Along with all people of Ayodhya, I shall follow Ram to the forest." Rama approached his father and said politely, "O great king, of what use to me is an army and all your riches? I have renounced the kingdom. How then I can how then can I take its wealth? He who has parted with an elephant yet seeks to retain its telther is simply a fool. I am resolved to enter the forest and dwell there with the ascetic, wearing the barks of trees and living on whatever produce I can glean from day to day." Rama wanted to act only in accord with the scriptural instruction regarding the bow of a forest life. He told his fathers that one living in the forest should not do so in great opulence. Rama asked that the king cannot bestow upon his brother a kingdom bereft of its riches. He would live with only his weapons and spread for dragging roots. Turning to king's servant, Ram said, "Bring me the tree barks, and I shall take of these royal garments and make ready to depart. His request so gladly, gladly did Kaikeyi that she personally faced the Ram, the Spartan forest clothes made from barks and grasses she had already prepared, seamlessly handing them to Sita, r- handing them to Ram, Lakshmana, and Sita. She said, "Put this on." Rama and Lakshmana quickly and adroitly changed into those clothes, but the beautiful Sita was perplexed, unsure of how to wear them, trying again and again to place the bark linen over her other clothes. Sita felt abashed. With her eyes folded with tears, she said to her husband, "How does one wear such a dress, my lord?" Ram personally fastened the barks over Sita's silk dress, seeing her clad in forest apparel. Her many female servants began to wail piteously. This noble princess has not been ordered to enter the forest. They cried, "Dear Ram, please let her remain here with us so we may continue to serve her and enjoy the blessing of seeing her divine form. How can this gentle lady live like a ascetic in the forest? She doesn't deserve to suffer in this way." Although hearing they are loving remonstrances, Ram continued to tie on Sita's forest clothes as she desired. Suddenly, Vaishishta became overwhelmed with distress at seeing the gentle Sita about to enter the forest. Feeling angered and weeping hot tears, he said to Kaikai, "Oh cruel omen, have you no shame? After deceiving the king and bringing disgrace to your family, are you still not satisfied? Will you stand by and watch as the high-born lady lives for the forest wearing the coarse garments you prepared? You did not ask that she be exiled along with Ram. These tree bars are not meant for her. Excellent garments and jewels should be brought by you for your daughter-in-law. She should proceed to the forest on first class conveyor rents and accompanied by all her servants. My sister loved Ram and Sita like his own children. He could not stand and watch as they depart while the hard-hearted Kaikeyi looked on gleefully. The sage spoke words which pierced Kaikeyi deeply. He explained that according to scripture, the wife her hus- was her husband's own self. They were one and the same person. As Sita should therefore rule over the kingdom, even if Ram himself could not. The forest would become the capital of the world. Indeed, the entire state of Kosala, sorry, along with all its people and the city of Ayodhya, would live along with Ram. The sage blushed with anger as he went on, appearing like a smokeless fire. Surely Bharat and his brother Shatrugna will also enter the forest, clad in wax. You may then rule over a desolated kingdom, peopled only by trees, which alone could not rise up and follow Ram. Kaikai remained, Kaikai remained silent and looked at Ram and Sita, who were ready to leave. Sita wished only to follow her husband, even often hearing Vaishishta words. She was not swayed in the least form from her purpose. She stood next to Ram, covered from head to toe in the grass and bark clothes given by Kaikai. All the people present then loudly exclaimed, "Shame upon the powerless king who doesn't does nothing to stop his flagrant injustice." Hearing their cries, the empire became dispirited and lost interest in life. He turned to Kaikai and rebuked her for making Sita wear forest garments. But the queen remained silent. Ram came before his father, who sat with his head bent low, and asked his permission to leave. He requested the king to take special care of Kausalya, who he feared would suffer in his absence. Looking at his son clad in the dress of hermit, the king fell unconscious after being brought to his senses by his minister, who gently sprinkled him with cool water. Dasharatha lamented loudly. "I think in my past life I must have given terrible pain to other living beings, and thus this pain is now being felt by me. Surely life would not leave one until the appointed time arrives. Otherwise, why does that not claim to me now, who am tormented by tormented by Kaikeyi and beholding my dearest son wearing the robe of an ascetic, crying out, O Ram!" The king broke off, choked with tears. With a great effort, Dasharatha then managed to control his grief, and turning towards Sumitra, he said, "Fetch here the best of my chariots and take the glorious Ram beyond this city, since I see a virtuous and a valiant son being exiled to the forest by his own fathers and mother. I can now conclude that this is the result of pity as declared by the scripture. Religion is undoubtedly difficult to divide. As Ram and Sita approached the chariot brought by Sumitra, Kausalya came and tightly embraced Sita, saying, "Wicked are these women who forsake their worthy husband when fallen upon hard times. Even though even the such women have in the past been protected and afforded every happiness, they Malian and even desert their husband when misfortune arrives. Such women are heartless, untruthful, lusty, and sinful by nature. Being weakly estranged in time of trouble, neither king, kindness, nor education, nor grief, nor even marriage tie can capture the hearts of these women. Kausalya loved Kausalya loved Sita as a daughter. She knew that Ram's gentle wife was entirely devoted to piety, and she spoke to her only out of a motherly affection. She continued, "For a virtuous women who are truthful, pure, obedient to their elder, and acting within the bonds of morality, the husband is the most sacred object and is never abandoned. Although although Ram is being sent to the forest, you should never neglect him, dear Sita. Whether wealthy or without any mean whatsoever, he is always for your worshipable deity." Sita was filled with joy to hear this advice, which was in accord with her life's aim. Joining her palms, she replied reverently, I shall surely do all that you, honorable self, instruct. I have always heard from you proper advice about how to serve my husband. Even in thought, you should not compare me to wicked women, for I am unable to div- deviate from virtue, even as moonlight cannot be parted from the moon. As a lute is unless without its strings, or a chariot without its wheels. So, a wife is distinct when separated from her worthy husband. Having learned from my elder all the duties incumbent upon a wife, and knowing the husband to be the veritable deity, how can I ever neglect Ram, O vulnerable lady? Kausalya's heart was touched by Sita's reply, and she shed tears born of both delight and agony, being moved by Sita's pity and at the same time anguished at thought of her imminent departure. Ram looked with affection at his mother. It was time for him to leave. He fears Kausalya would pine. Always after he left, Ram stood before her with folded palms. Please do not show my father sad expression, highlighting his grief. 14 years will be passed quickly even while you sleep. You will rise one morning to find me returned with Sita and Lakshmana surrounded by friends and relatives. Ram looked around at all the royal ladies standing there and said, please forgive any unkind words or act which I may have said or done out of ignorance, because we have lived closely together. Now I take leave of you all. A cry rose up from the ladies that resembled the cry of a female crans, the Sarata Palace, which had always been marked with the joyous sounds of music and festivities, was now filled with the sound of agonies wells. Catching hold of Dasharatha feet, Ram, Sita, and Lakshmana took their final leave of him and walked around him in respect and number of griefs. Ram bowed to Kausalya and climbed upon onto the chariot, followed by Sita as Lakshmana followed to them. His own mother Sumatra came up to say goodbye, embarrassing her son. She said, serve well your elder brother Ram. My dear son, the eternal moral law states that the older brother is the refuge of the younger. Whether in good time or bad time, never forget the duty of your race, O Lakshman, which are to practice charity, perform sacrifice for the good of the people, and to lay down one's life on the field of a battle. Be blinded by tears, Sumitra allowed to her son to mount the chariot as she called out, farewell, dear son, farewell. Always see Ram as you do your father Dasharatha. Looked upon Sita as myself, your mother, and see the forest as Ayodhya. Sumitra took off the reins of the horse and horses and urged them forward. The great golden chariots moved ahead with a thunderous rumbling as it passed down the royal highway. The People assembled were stunned with sorrow. Both old and young alike rushed towards the chariot, and thirsty home men would rush towards water in the desert, clinging to the side and the back of the chariot. They looked up at Sumitra, calling out, "Hold fast the reins, O charioteer, and drive slowly. We wish to see Ram a little longer." Ram, anxious to be gone as quickly as possible, asked them to decide and told Sumitra to drive Sumantra more swiftly. Ordered by Ram, move on, and at the same time told by people who filled the road, stop. Sumantra could do neither. With great difficulty, the chariot passed slowly forward. Seeing Ram leaving and his city found into despair, the king fell prostrate. Upon being brought back to the consciousness, he got up and, along with Kausalya, ran after the chariot. Ram looked behind him and saw them trying to make their way through the crowd. He was unable to bear the sight of his father and mother in such distress, but being bound by duty, he urged Sumantra ever forward. The charioteer was perplexed, hearing from behind the king calling out, "Come back!" and then being ordered by Ram to drive quicker. Ram said to him, "This pain should not be prolonged further. Make haste. If my father reprimands you when you return, you should simply say you could not hear him." Finally, breaking free from the crowd, the chariot gathered speed and left the city. The Saratha was still running along the road, his eye fixed on the dust raised by the chariot's wheels, breathless, and at last losing sight of the chariot in distance. Dasharatha fell down on the road. As he lay there, Kausalya and Kaikeyi came to rage of him. On seeing Kaikeyi, however, the king became inflamed with anger. "Do not touch me, O sinful man, O man," he roared. "I never want to see you again. You are neither my wife nor relation, and I have nothing more to say to you. I also reject those who serve and depend upon you. If your son is in any way pleased to receive the sovereignty, then I shall son him as well." Dasharatha gazed at the tracks of the chariots. He covered his face in shame, blaming himself for Ram's departure. With Kausalya help, he slowly made his way back to the palace. As he passed along the road, he saw the city marked by mourning, shop closed, the streets deserted, lamenting all the while. The Saranta entered his palace as the sun goes behind a cloud. The great palace was silent and without movement, overlaid with a heavy atmosphere of sorrow. The Sarata went into Kausalya apartments and laying down upon a soft couch, cried out, "O Ram, have you really deserted me? Alas, only those who will endure this coming 14 years will be happy. Seeing again the face of my gentle son, I cannot tolerate my life without that tiger among men. O wicked Kaikeyi, you may rule this kingdom as a widow." Kausalya looked sadly upon her husband and said, having discharged her poison upon Ram, he crooked Kaikeyi the crooked Kaikei will now wander freely with like a free female serpent who has shed her skin. With Ram exiled and her own son installed as Kaikei, surely installed as king, surely she will cause further fear to me, even like a snake living in one own house. How shall I survive without Ram? Thinking of Rama and Sita entering the forest, Kausalya uh, cried out in pain. How would they survive exactly at a time when they should have enjoyed the luxury of life? They were vanished and made to live like ascetics. When again would see them? Surely in some past life she had committed some grievous sin. For that reason she now suffered such terrible pain. She lamented loudly, O Ram, Lakshmana, O Sita, where are you now? The fire of my grief torture me to today as the blazing sun scorches the earth in summer. Sum- Sumitra gently reassured Kausalya, reminding her of the greatness of Ram and Lakshman, controlling her own grief and sitting next to Kausalya. She placed her arms around her co-wives. She spoke about Ram, describing his qualities and immeasurable strength, simply to prove his noble father to be perfectly truthful. He had renounced the throne and gone to the forest. This was the path of a virtue followed always by cultured men. That path lead only to religion of never-ending happiness. Kausalya should therefore not pity her son. Sumitra spoke softly, being ever attended by by the loving King Lakshmana and followed by his devoted wife. So Ram will feel no discomfort. Even the sun will withhold its scorching ray from Ram's body, seeing his boundless virtue. A gentle and shooting blaze will always blow softly on Ram. At night, when he lies down to sleep, the cooling rays of a moon will caress him like a loving father. Sumitra stroked Kausalya's face. She spoke to assure her own suffering as much as that of Kausalya. She told Kausalya not to worry, Ram would surely not to worry. Ram would surely to protect by the terrible offense that Vishwamitra gave him. He would dwell fearlessly in the forest just as he would in his own palace. Sumitra concluded, knowing the power of that prince, I have no doubt we will see him return as soon as his term of exile is concluded. With Ram as your son, you should not grieve in the least, for your good fortune is very great indeed. Said your sorrow now, O sinless lady, for all the people must be comforted by you at this time, pained as they are by Ram's separation. Comforted by Sumitra, Kausalya felt relief and embraced her co-wife tightly. Though two queens sat together for a long time, lost in thoughts of Ram, nearby the king lay almost unconscious on a couch, repeatedly murmuring Ram's name. This is how the situation happened at the time of a depart to the forest. This is the sad farewell ever. Hope you got some information of Ramayana in the chapter 10. Thank you for being connected with this beautiful journey of Ramayana. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and please share to your friend. Jai Jagannath, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Jagannath, Jai Shri Ram.